Let me set the scene. The year is 1997. A former marine biologist and a current writer on Rocko's Modern Life, Steven Hillenburg, is working on a television show pilot. This pilot is centered around his love for the ocean, and he's planning to pitch it to the popular children's network, Nickelodeon. As I'm sure you're already very well aware, this pitch would lead to the creation of Spongebob SquarePants, a franchise that has conquered both cable and beyond, marking its place as America's favorite television show.
Here comes the TV repairman.
Spongebob SquarePants would first air in 1999, and almost instantly became a household name. Through its first few seasons, and arguably the majority of its run thus far, the show has met acclaimed praise of its comedy and writing style, as it manages to establish a connection between viewers of all ages. Our main character is Spongebob SquarePants, a naive yet kind-hearted sponge who is absolutely ecstatic about his job and friends. This show is normally made in an 11-minute episode format, as is most television. Though sometimes SpongeBob actually breaks the formula and it delivers 22-minute specials, and later on in the show's run, even 44-minute specials in the form of 3 TV movies, starting with season 12 releasing one. Of course, given this show's critical and financial success, it was only an inevitability that it would turn to merchandise. Now, merchandise doesn't just include more episodes, obviously. It includes, toys and such. But, even if we just focus on other forms of media, well, good news. SpongeBob is now on the latest innovation in our society. The most powerful form of entertainment imaginable. That's right. Paper. Yeah, so, like other shows at the time, SpongeBob began releasing books and comics based upon episodes, and even some original concepts. While one would think that these would be straightforward, from the books I owned as a kid, I can certainly say that these took some creative liberties. Yeah, no, it took them pretty often when it came to storytelling and the plot. Regardless, though, they were an interesting facet of the SpongeBob franchise, and they did in fact invade children's book sections in the 2000s and the 2010s. Nickelodeon's first endeavor into mixed media SpongeBob must have been a success, because along came the real meat and potatoes of SpongeBob Adaptations, and when I say that, I mean it. Of course, I'm talking about the video games. Starting with Legend of the Lost Spatula in 2001, a fairly unique and very much needlessly difficult 2D platformer for the Game Boy Color, the series of SpongeBob games reached nearly every genre, from 3D platformers to point-and-clicks. Weirdly though, when it comes to these games, they feel rather disconnected from the television show. If you've heard of the phenomenon not invented here, it means that you avoid using something from other sources. And in many ways, the television show and other SpongeBob media deliberately, just blatantly ignore the characters that are introduced here and just the plot points. So it is a little strange, and other stuff here has that problem, disregarding to some extent the movies, but it is particularly prominent in the video games. Now that we've talked about the video games, let's talk about the movies. So starting in 2004, SpongeBob SquarePants finally reached the big screen with the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, a very fitting title. This had to change how our character archetypes were laid out for the film, because due to this extended runtime, we needed a gripping story. And this was before the 44-minute episodes I mentioned before. Those came several years after this film. So this was the first time SpongeBob entered this long-form content. And yes, in order to do this, it changed the archetypes of 2 characters most prominently, Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob. You see, in the show, SpongeBob is often portrayed as the perfect employee, most evidently in the episode Employee of the Month in Season 1. In that episode, SpongeBob was practically presented as the perfect employee, who would easily be the most trusted, and would be the obvious candidate to be manager of the Krusty Krab 2. However, the film changed this dynamic in order to make a gripping story. By making Mr. Krabs not trust SpongeBob, we now have this very emotional backing to an otherwise comedic movie, and it really does work. Two of my favorite kinds of spin-off, pretty strange. Okay, kind of really strange, but they're good, I swear. Both the musicals and the 4D rides based on Spongebob feel a little bit like an Uncanny Valley fever dream, but they do capture the atmosphere of the show pretty well. Also, there's a musical based on Season 3's The Sponge Who Could Fly that is way more terrifying than anything else SpongeBob related I have seen in a long while. To bring it up a slightly different topic, have any of you ever been to the American Dream Mall in New Jersey? No? Well, if you had, there's two parks in that mall, a DreamWorks water park and a Nickelodeon amusement park. And let me tell you, if you're not going on the Shrek Super Slammer, you're probably going on Sandy's Blasting Bronco. A fast-paced ride that's lots of fun. Let's be real though, you just did a recognition over recall and got on it because you knew it was SpongeBob, but I mean regardless, it was a lot of fun. Okay, yeah, I mean, these are all pretty weird parts of the SpongeBob cultural zeitgeist, but I mean, hey, they're pretty cool.